Sunshine, and welcome back to Sunshine in My Code. My name is Soahudimo, and today I'm going to be talking about hackathons. So, my first hackathon was about 2 weeks ago at the Facebook F8 hackathon, and I've actually judged hackathons. I've organized hackathons, but this was the first time that I actually got to participate in a hackathon. And there's some interesting lessons that I learned from our team. So we didn't win, but we made it to the finals, and we then asked one of the mentors, like, why didn't we kind of like win at least third prize? And we got some really good feedback that I feel that would be able to help pretty much anyone who's participating in a hackathon. If you've participated in hackathons before and you have some tips that I didn't cover, please feel free to comment down below. Maybe I'll do a part 2 with everyone else's tips for hackathons. And yeah, so this is kind of also just going to be summarizing my experience and allowing if you are interested in hackathons, or if you have participated in hackathons and you just want to know how to do it better and not make my mistakes. Yeah. So the first thing to remember is one of the first feedback we got from the mentors. His name's Albert, and he works for Facebook. And he said that he's won hackathons before, and when products went to market, the people who didn't win, they did quite well and they were able to build a company. But his product that the judges absolutely loved didn't build a company. So bear in mind that hackathons can also be like singing contests. You know how second place always ends up having like a successful career, but the person who was first place sometimes doesn't. So the same thing can happen with hackathons. So losing is not the end. Well, you didn't lose, but not winning is not the end of the hackathon. And yeah, so let's get right into the tips. The most important part of the hackathon for you and your team is the idea. Spend time working. I think we rush towards an idea just so we can rush towards coding, so we can rush towards finishing. But spend time refining your idea, making sure that everyone on the team understands what the idea you're working on is, because sometimes we can have different perceptions of different things. So in my team, we had someone from Brazil, we had someone from Portugal, we had 2 people from South Africa, 2 people from India, someone was from New York, we had a girl from Houston, and someone from Taiwan who also lives in San Francisco. We all come from different educational backgrounds. We were building an educational platform. We all had our own perception of how things work. I was talking about curriculums, someone else was talking about lesson plans. I wasn't really sure what a lesson plan is, because I don't know, our teachers don't use that kind of stuff. And some people were also not understanding what that is until eventually we got an understanding of the fact that we were using different terms. And also we had to boil it down to a specific region, because we all had different perceptions of the education system. And so it's important to spend time refining your idea, making sure everyone understands the idea, so that when you start coding, when you start working on the user experience and the user interface, you know, the people who are working on the user experience, the people who are working on the front end, the people who are working on the back end, if you do have back end, are not working on 3 completely different platforms. So spend time on that. If it means like 2 or 4 hours refining your idea, that's more important. And don't settle for an idea. Just make sure the idea that you have is a banger, because at the end of the day, even if you do your best to develop a product, you've got proper, it's working, it's ready for deployment, and the idea isn't really selling it, the idea isn't really a winner, judges will choose the idea that's a winner but kind of not really working, versus the idea that was built very strongly together, like the idea that had a strong back end, a strong technical team, but may not have been like such a boom idea. And that's what we had to learn from our hackathon, was that we had built something, we had a proper back end, we had machine learning, we had translations, we had React.js front end, we had a messenger bot, we had a free basics front end. But in the end, the judges were like, the idea needs to work. Some tips for the idea to make it really good is that your idea, it can be unrealistic to an extent, right? So it's okay to have a an idea that you kind of would look at it and be like, would that really work? But it's a really cool idea though. So like just add a cool factor to it that's just selling, because remember, it is marketing, and a huge part of marketing is selling dreams. So one of the winning ideas was an app where a messenger bot where you would write code and it would give you, like for instance, you'd write HTML and it would send you an image. So the idea is that you actually don't have access to a computer, you want to learn how to code, you just write on the chatbot and it sends you an image of what the idea looks like. And as a developer, you're probably thinking, no, you wouldn't really like sustainably teach people how to code like that, but it's cool and it's worth giving a shot. So judges do like those kinds of things. So when you come up with an idea, do try to add a bit of spunk to it for marketing purposes. Which brings me to my next point as to why it's important to have people who aren't technical on the team. Like a lot of in hackathons, sometimes non-technical people are undermined, but non-technical people tend to sometimes have really bright and beautiful ideas. They also do really well with building a rich and beautiful user interface, which can sell very well during your demo. During your demo, it's really just about selling the idea, even if the code base isn't the best. Make sure you solve a very specific problem. So one of the mistakes we made in our team was that we're building a platform for every teacher everywhere, and it doesn't have like a specific thing. So if we had gone, even if it was going to be used for every other subject, if we had said, for instance, something like it's for English teachers to deal with literacy problems, and we had refined it a little bit for that specific problem, we were going to be filling a specific niche. So kind of make sure that your product has an it factor to it. A good approach to have when you're building your product is a top-down approach. So think of where you're taking it from, straight from the point to which you demo, all the way down to what needs to be built. So focus on building features that will be a part of the demo.